Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. In this one I'm going to be going over the Strun Prime and its Incarnon. Now the cool thing about this Incarnon, I'm sorry, back when this first came out, I actually didn't like its Incarnon mode. I thought that it was kind of basic, that kind of thing. I mean, I thought it was cool, don't get me wrong, but it didn't seem very good. But now that I've tested it, tried it, made some different builds for it, that kind of thing, I think it kind of slaps. And I really like it. Now, the one thing to note about this weapon and this build is if you are using the Incarnon form on a single target in high level activities, you're not going to see a lot of damage. The reason why is because, for me, in my opinion, the blast itself, like the actual projectile explosions itself, does not actually deal a lot of damage. But if you have a ton of enemies grouped together, aka blast, the status effect can actually hit all of them. It this thing cooks. So that's one thing to keep in mind. I don't want people using this and then going, oh, but the incarnate form doesn't actually deal damage in high level activities. That's why. It's because if you're wanting single target explosive high impact damage, you fire it normally because it will melt normally. But if there is a ton of enemies grouped together and you know that they're grouped together, you can easily wipe the floor with them if you use its incarnate form. So it does have a little bit of back and forth in terms of when you should use each of them, but just know if you see a little bit of a drop off on damage because you're trying to single target fire an enemy with the incarnate form, that's why. For the actual evolutions, the first one, of course, you can't change, so we're not really going to talk about that one. The second one, we're going to be going with Blazing Barrel just because Tenno targeting requires you to run a frame that has a lot of channeled abilities. That's not good, so we're not going to be running that, and we're going to be running Blazing Barrel instead. For the third evolution, we are going to be running Rapid Reinforcement just because Galvanic Reload does not really it's not really that useful considering we're running Primary Crux and Swift Deliverance is kind of meh. So we're going to be running Rapid Reinforcement so that we can keep that reload speed up and be able to get back into the action really quick. Especially if you're using this for single target, which you should be doing because it has such high damage. Of course, mixed in with the actual Incarnate form AoE nuking, but for the sake of this, reload speed is extremely helpful. For the fourth evolution, we're going to be running this one right here, Elemental Balance. This one over here is a strong contender. The only thing is we're not really worried about critical chance that much. So this one applies a heavier status for the Incarnate form, which is very nice and very useful. The middle one, if you want a crit build, go for it. Again, red crits aren't everything, so that's up to you. For the actual build itself, this is what we are going to be running right here. I have three variations of this build. I'm not going to be showing all of them in the video unless somebody wants me to. Um, but this is just what I run right here. So since we're going to be running Galvanized Savvy for the extra status chance and additional direct damage per status effect on the target, we can afford to run, um, all these elements, Corrosive Blast, and then you know, the radial attack will give extra puncture slash, impact, that kind of thing. So you have a lot of status effects going on at one time. So these are the mods that we are running right here. Feel free to pause at any point and read what they do. If you want to run a magnetic mod, you can. I personally don't know what you would replace just because all of these mods are kind of useful. I guess maybe you could replace Galvanized Savvy. I don't recommend it, but I guess you maybe could. Semi-rifle cannonade, or sorry, semi-shotgun cannonade, is very good because this is just a direct buff to prime point blank. So this is just a better mod to put there, and it gives punch through, which is really nice on this thing. And then of course shotgun elementalist because of the fact that we're dealing with blast. So we're dipping into the blast damage from these three sources, and also because we have so much status, we can afford to run the 90% toxin mod, prime chilling grass, prime charge shell, and if you wanted to, you could replace scattering inferno with the incendiary coat mod if you wanted to do that. It is entirely up to you. I do think it would probably make the build a little better if you did that, but it's not necessary. It already nukes extremely quick and kills very fast, so you don't need it. If you want an alternate build, this is an alternate build for it. Um, Both of them perform extremely well, and then if you want a corrosive heat magnetic build, this is what I recommend right here. So there's three builds in one. If anyone wants me to see, wow, if anyone wants to see this build or this build in action, let me know in the comments and I can make another video going over them. But for now in this video, I'm just gonna be going over this build right here. So, there's not much more that I want to say about this weapon besides just showing y'all what it does. So without further ado, let's get into the gameplay.